you guys, welcome to my channel. I am going to be showing you guys how I do my crawfish etouffee, and I just don't want to call it crawfish etouffee because you don't have to use always use crawfish. You can use whatever meat that you want. It's your kitchen aid. Do what you want. You can use shrimp. You can use ground meat if you want. You can use chicken if you want. Whatever kind of meat is your preference. That's up to you. Is your kitchen. But I decided to do crawfish tails today with my etouffee. I have my seasonings, my Creole seasonings, my Old Bay seasoning. You can choose whatever seasonings, dry seasonings that you want, but those are the ones that I use. I use parsley, green onions, bell pepper, onion, one can of the tomato sauce. I use thyme, and just the crawfish tails. All-purpose flour. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, I also want to say, with the catfish, I got it from a local place we call Tony Seafood, and I went there because it's fresh, and it's always, when you know it's fresh, it's right there and they cut it right in front of you. I got 4 pieces of fillet of catfish for like $15. The crawfish tails was on the pricey side. I'm not sure why, but they were probably like $15. I got it from one of the local stores. So yeah, you can find crawfish tails cheaper than that, and I'm sure you can find those fillets probably cheaper than that. It's just what I chose to buy for this dish because I really love this dish and I want to have the best ingredients, and that's kind of like what you want to do. You can buy what you want, but if you want your meal to come out pretty decent, and you want to have quality ingredients for your meal. But again, this meal is simple. I was getting out of church and I just wanted something quick to do, and so I was like, let me do some crawfish etouffee, get in and out of the kitchen. So stick around and I'll show you how I accomplish this wonderful dish. Okay, what I have here is my Holy Trinity, if you want to say. I have the garlic, the parsley, I have some I got some celery out. I diced it. I have some onions and bell pepper, kind of like just have that there because that's what I'm going to use to season my etouffee. Okay, next I just have the 2 pieces of catfish ready to go in the oven. With this, I put, I think I did the Creole seasoning, the Zatarain's Creole seasoning on there. I sprayed some Pam on top, and I just garnished it with some parsley. With this, I put it on 315, popped it in the oven, and let it slow roll. And I kind of baste it every now and then with the liquids that dropped at the bottom of the pan, and kind of kept basting it a little bit to keep it nice and juicy. And I let it just slow roll while I was making my etouffee. Now with this is the half a stick of butter that I had. I put it at the bottom of the saucepan, and I kind of let it melt on like a medium high. I didn't want to melt it down too fast with this because once you put the flour in, then it immediately overcook that roux, and it'll cook it too fast because you want to arrive to like I want to say like a blonde roux with this. You don't want to overly make that roux with this. So yeah, that's what I did. I'm in the process of making the roux. Now some people make their roux with oil, vegetable oil or whatever, but with this etouffee in particular, you do want to use real unsalted or salted butter. I use salted butter, but you can use unsalted butter. It's your preference. But a half a stick of unsalted butter or salted butter at the bottom of a saucepan at about medium to medium high heat. The next thing I did was I added a cup of flour. Now with this, I want to say a cup of flour. I want to say that, but I don't always measure everything. I just go off eyeballing things because I never really went off a recipe. But to help you guys, I'm going to say a cup of flour I put into this, and I kind of sprinkled it in moderation. I did a little bit at a time. I didn't put it all in at one time because I didn't want to put too much flour on that, and then the butter soak up everything and it get clumpy because you do want it to cook. Now with this roux, this blonde roux that I'm preparing, you don't want to cook it to get it too dark, and you don't want to not cook it enough. So with this, I just got it to this color, or maybe a little tad bit darker, but that's what I did with this roux. And when you're talking about a roux, it may take practice dealing with the roux. If you don't necessarily know how to do a roux, then you can always buy gravy, or it's different things you can do to arrive to the same recipe, but this is just how I do mine. So if you need ideas on how to make a roux, if you're not quite comfortable with that, then definitely look at some YouTube videos to get you to arrive to this recipe. And then there's other recipes out there to arrive to your crawfish etouffee, or whatever type of etouffee that you choose to prepare. Now I just added this picture of this Creole seasoning in here because this Tony Chachere's, because I didn't have it in there initially, so I just wanted to show you guys this is one of the seasons that I chose to use a little bit of it because it's high in sodium, and I personally can't have a whole lot of sodium, so I use a little bit of this, and I also use the Zatarain. So the Tony Chachere's and the Zatarains are the two Creole seasonings I decided to use in my etouffee. Now this is all of the vegetables, the garlic, the parsley. I did celery, the onion, and the bell pepper incorporated into the roux that I'm making. And now you can see how the roux has gotten to be a little bit darker. That's kind of like where we want it to be to get the required texture for the etouffee, as the way I like to have it. Now everybody do it different again, but this is just how I make mine. So I put the seasonings in there, and at this point you kind of want to have it on like a medium high heat. You want to have it on a medium. You don't want to have it too low though, because you do want it to rock and roll. You do want it to cook. So like a medium high, I would say not too high though, because you don't want that. You don't want to burn your roux, and you don't want to rush it either. You want to slow roll that food, because it's fairly quick to make, but yeah, let's take our time. Let's take our time with this. Let's slow down a little bit with this. Okay, so the next thing I have here is these crawfish tails. Now with these crawfish tails, they come in different prices. This is one of the ones I got. These were available to me, and they were a bit pricey. They were like $15-16, I think, I want to say. They were a bit pricey because I'm used to paying $8, $7-8 at the most for these. Not this brand, but for crawfish tails. So these were kind of pricey, which was fine. And so I didn't rinse off the crawfish tails. You might want to do that. I mean, if that's something that you want to do, take it, put it in a strainer, run some water over it, rinse it off. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I didn't rinse these off because I like all the flavors that come out of this, and it's packed with flavor. So I poured everything in there like it was, and we started rock and rolling. So once I put these crawfish tails in there, I let them simmer around a little bit. I incorporated with all my other vegetables and everything I had going on in that pan. My roux was mixed in there. All of my vegetables was mixed in there. I poured them crawfish tails right in the middle. And the reason I did that, so they can get a good sear on the tails themselves. Because if I would have just poured it over everything, I just don't feel like they would have been cooking, because that was the newest ingredient in the pan. So I put the crawfish tails, I spread everything out, and I put the crawfish tails in the middle. It's just something I do. I'm not saying that that's how you need to go about doing it, but I just kind of do that. I have my little own way of doing things. But yeah, once you do that, you kind of stir it around, incorporate everything in there, and you kind of want to have it again, like I would say a medium heat, because you don't want to rush that thing. You don't want to do that. So yeah, I know y'all see my little wooden spoon, but that's what I like to roll with, because it works a little better for me. It works, and the darker the spoon, the more experienced you are. So now with this, I took a regular old can of Hunt's tomato sauce, y'all. Whatever brand you want to use is up to you, but I use the original tomato sauce with nothing added into it. You have the tomato basil, and you'd have the different types of whatever they add into the tomato sauce. I didn't get that because I want to stick as close to the flavor itself. The onions, the bell pepper, the garlic, the celery, that I have in there, I want to stick as close to those ingredients because that's what my dish consists of. I didn't want to add anything with that tomato sauce because then it's going to give it another flavor, and I wasn't trying to arrive to a different flavor. So I just only use that original tomato sauce. Of course, there's different brands. Use what you choose. I don't know if Hunt's, I'm sure Hunt's should be available in all places, I'm thinking, but yeah, that's what I had. To be honest with you, I already had a can of tomato sauce in my cabinet, so I just did that. And so I separated the ingredients to the side, and I took the can of tomato sauce and I poured it directly in the middle, let it simmer a little bit, and then after I did that, I started to incorporate all of my ingredients. Now, while you're doing this, this is not a dish that's gonna take you all day. So while you're doing this, you want to start just looking in your oven to check on your fish, because you can open the oven, look at it, probably take a brush or something, a brush that you base your meats with, and just take it and just brush it over the top of your catfish, and or just whatever you choose. You can flip it over if you want to cook it on both sides, that's fine, totally up to you. But I just take the brush and I just base the top of my catfish every now and then while I'm preparing my etouffee on top of the stove. Now this is a picture of everything mixed together, and so the color that you see here on this etouffee, it is the color that you want to arrive to, the color that I wish to arrive to. And if you cook the roux too long, it's going to be a little darker. If you cook it not long enough, it's going to be too light. But I think when you put that tomato sauce in there, it just brings everything together so beautifully. And so with this, you kind of want to, it all depends on how you cook. But with me, I kind of like saute it a little bit till my vegetables and everything start to wither, and then I add in the liquid part of it. But I do that because not very long after you add the liquid ingredient, it's not going to take very long to be done after that. And I kind of want it I kind of want it to be done pretty fast, so or let it cook longer, however you want. It all depends on what you want to do. But anyway, with this water here, you can have water, you can have chicken broth, you can have chicken stock if you want. If I would have had some chicken broth, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I would have put that in there instead of this water. But when I came to that step of the etouffee, I was like, wow, I don't have any chicken broth. Didn't even think about it, but I add chicken broth to quite a few of my dishes, like even with my red beans. Instead of using water, I would use chicken broth. It's just something that I think gives it an extra nice little flavor versus just putting some water in there. And if salt is an issue, you can use a low sodium chicken broth or chicken stock, whatever it is you want to choose. But with this here, I just put 2 cups of water into this etouffee. And so what I did was just poured it in there, mixed it all together, incorporated it in there. When I did that, and it was sitting and starting to come to a simmer again, I was like, wait a minute, I need me some spice, I need some kick in there. So I pulled out my Louisiana hot sauce. Now this is your choice. If you want to add hot sauce, you can. If you want to add cayenne pepper, you can. If you want to add black pepper, white pepper, you can. If you don't want any type of spice, any type of pepper in there, it's going to taste just as good. It's just I prefer to use my Louisiana hot sauce, and I want to put it in the etouffee while it's cooking and not after it's cooking, because I like to cook some of that sodium out of there, because let's be real, the sodium is not really that good for us, but we like to have our foods seasoned how we like to have our food. So whatever type of spice you want to put in there is totally up to you. If you don't want any spice in there, again, that is totally up to you. This is the garlic toast that I chose to use. I'm not real picky on this. With this, you can put it in the oven, the conventional oven. You can put it in your air fryer. However you toast your bread, hey, it's totally up to you. I choose these because I can take one out at a time. It don't take a whole lot. Excuse the noise in the background, I'm working right now, but it don't take a a whole lot for these. You know, just pop them in the air fryer a few minutes and they're done. So this is the bread that I use with this dish today. And like, if you don't want bread with it, that's fine. If you want to use some asparagus with this, if you want to add corn on the cob, you want to add you some peas, green beans, if you want a veg on the side, again, you want a salad, a garden salad on the side, you know, whatever you want to do. If you want some garlic knots on the side, whatever you want to do to arrive to this dish, totally up to you. Let's get creative. Okay, with this catfish, this is the catfish fresh out the oven, and it looks so good. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, and it was real good too. It ended up being a very good meal for me on Sundays. I made this last Sunday, and so yeah, with this fish, like I said, I basted. You see the juices on the side, so it came out to be nice and juicy. It wasn't dry or anything like that. So yeah, this is the fish out of the oven. I think because it ended up being this color because I kept basting it with the oils and the juices that was falling to the bottom of the pan. I kept basting it with it to kind of like keep it from drying out and everything. So this is how the fish look once it came out the oven. Now, if you're not doing this dish with fish, and you don't have to do it with fish, you can just do it with, like I said, you can get you some chicken, or you can get you some sausages, or get you some shrimp or something like that, and just arrive to the same, you know, thing. You don't have to have any fish on the side. You can have, look, again, let's get creative, y'all, because we don't have to do what everybody else do. Okay, so this is me starting to plate the dish, and this is just showing you an example of how I wanted to plate it, because you want to kind of like, when you first dig down in there, you want to be able to get everything. So with this, I just did a little, you know, bed of rice in the middle. And with this rice, you can do 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water. You know, 2 cups of rice, 4 cups of water. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you can arrive to your rice. You know, if you boil it on the stove, or if you don't like to boil rice on the stove, you can get you some minute rice. You know, if you're not comfortable with that, then you find you a YouTube video to give you instructions on how to make rice. Because I mean, hey, it's a way to do everything, and it takes time and patience to really be the kind of cook that you want to be. So this is just me placing the catfish over the bed of rice, and very nice and elegant, yes, if I must say so myself. So I just placed the and this is something that I enjoy doing. I actually have fun in the kitchen, y'all. Like, my job has nothing to do with what I do at home. Like, I actually enjoy this cooking. So this is me starting to plate this crawfish etouffee, and this meal here, I think we call it quite a few things here down in the South. It all depends on where you buy this dish from, what restaurant you go to. Some people call it a chaffalice catfish, catfish Piccadilly, you know, different things that they call this meal. And then sometimes they may even add fried crawfish tails on top of the etouffee, which makes it just beautiful and very delicious. Okay, this is the end result. I just took the etouffee and I just spread it on top of the bed of rice and the catfish at the same time. That's the toast at the back. I garnished it all with some parsley, and there you go. That's your etouffee and your catfish, and you can name it whatever you want to name it, but it's a delicious meal. It doesn't take that long to make, and you know, with practice and patience, you can arrive to something that's very comfortable and gives you very much comfort when you're finished eating it. So thank you so much for being here to listen to my commentary. I am just getting back on here after years of being on here, and I think I want to hop back into this, but I want to help you guys. So if there's something you would like for me to make for you, maybe we can learn together. If you don't know how to make it, look, we can learn together on this thing. Thank you, and welcome to my channel, Dixie Cup Cooking Corner. Have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.